Hi, this is Andy Francess reminding you that you can help prevent forest fires by simply staying inside on a Monday, watching hockey, and dialing up some NHL Sniffs, because that's what we're here to do today. Why am I always doing this? Because I want to do my part preventing forest fires by staying the hell away from forests. And how can I do that? By pulling up some games on a Monday. We got 4 games here, a nice 4-game slate. I mean, I don't know what we need a nickname for these 4-game slate, because I feel like, you know, it's almost like that Italian dinner. You got the primo piatto, the secondo piatto, the terzo piatto, the dolce. We have a little bit of everything. We have an early game. Moving into the night game, we have some pretty good matchups, some not so nice matchups. And I know as I was reading the comments of some of you guys on Friday,
it'd be nice if every once in a while you just told us, yeah, this team's gonna win, that team's gonna win.
we have a name for you. You're a pizzeria guy.
Anything else?
And I understand. You want money lines? You want to know who's going to win? I can make these videos really short and simple. You want some money lines? You want some analysis? The New York Rangers have lost every single game on their own home ice. Well, let's bet against the New York Rangers. Yeah, because that's how it works. They're going to lose every game all season. Now they're going to lose another one at home, right?
Wrong.
How about the New Jersey Devils? They're undefeated at home, 6-0-0. So I guess we just take them to win against the New York Islanders. And that is what I have for you here on a Monday. NHL Sniffs. You want Donkeylines, you got them.
Wrong.
But if you look around the NHL, you've seen the San Jose Sharks, as I've told you, easily beat the President's Trophy winner, followed by the Stanley Cup champion. The perennial lottery pick San Jose Sharks just beat the President's Trophy winner and the back-to-back Stanley Cup champions. So when you need to know why money lines are treacherous territories, that's why. So I came up with a whole other style of sniffing, one that yields more positive results in the long run, rather than, oh, we picked the donkey line correct. You want to know why that's not good? Because anything can happen in any game. The worst team can win by a lot, and I need to save you from yourself. If you said, yeah, well, I'm going to put in 3 straight bets, I want to win 2 of 3, okay, that's fine. But parlaying donkey lines is a guaranteed losing proposition in the NHL. Because anybody can beat anybody, including on this slate. But I do think that the New Jersey Devils are set up well to beat the Islanders. I told you maybe a couple days ago or a week ago, when I took the Bruins over the Islanders, I said the Islanders should not be favored over anybody in the entire NHL, home, road, whatever. And they're not favored against the New Jersey Devils. But the Devils, albeit I don't like them as a real hockey team to win more than, one round max in the playoffs, they're definitely better than the New York Islanders. So them on their own home ice, and now is when I'm showing you like a minus 150. Is that right? You happy? You happy, mister? Tell me who's going to win? Well, let's rewind the clock back to 2022 when I got super excited because I saw Caesars introduce just that you can add a player point. And to me, it was like Christmas morning. And you could still use this, but as player props have continued to expand, I don't do that as much. But when I was still chasing donkey lines, a way to turn a donkey line from a minus to a plus, turn that upside down, I would do it by adding one of the best players on the team for a point. I mean, I've told this many times before. I said, okay, take Braden Point. Take Braden Point for a point with the Lightning to win. All of a sudden, a minus 210 line becomes plus 105. Now, they've adjusted it since, but if I take the New Jersey Devils against the New York Islanders and simply add Nico Hischier for a point, I'm looking at plus 108, plus 110. The theory here is if the Devils are going to win, it's likely that their best players are going to find themselves on the score sheet. Brat's too expensive. Hughes is too expensive. Hischier is almost just as good, and he's the guy who's given us a plus 108. So if I'm taking the Devils to win, I'm doing it with Nico Hischier attached for a point. You happy? You want teams to win? You want teams to lose? So those New York Rangers who I was just telling you about, they literally couldn't look worse on their own home. It's weird because their metrics overall are very, very good. Their expected goal differential has been trending upwards all season. Now, they don't look the part. They don't pass the eye test, but they're passing the always sought after metrics tests. However, they haven't won a single game on their own home ice. The best they've been able to muster is an overtime loss against the San Jose Sharks. Those very New York Islanders, who shouldn't be favored over anybody, shut them out, and the Islanders' defense is awful. They shut them out in Madison Square Garden. So now you have the Nashville Predators going into there. And what do I see here? If I'm going to look for anything, it's going to be an under on a New York Ranger. That's a scary proposition. I know everybody hates betting unders, but I just want to at least get the right processes going through your head. There's always some process teaching when it comes to betting some unders, some strategic unders, and then I'm going to give you a strategic over right after this. But if I'm looking to bet an under on the New York Rangers, obviously price is going to play a factor. But who do we know on this team who's been, how about this? Show me one forward who isn't on the top power play listed in the player props, because there's only one left. It's Alexis Lafreniere, who 1 week ago, he was on that power play. But then he got sent to power play 2 in favor of Will Cooley. Will Cooley scored a power play goal in his first game, promoted to the power play. Now, that buys him a couple extra games. So you have Alexis Lafreniere not on the top power play, not playing with Panarin and Zibanejad anymore, on the second line with Miller and Cooley. Could he register a point? Maybe, but the New York Rangers have been struggling, and it's in their head. They're gripping the stick tight. So if you're a follower of the trends, if you see 9 reds on the roulette board, and you think that next one's also going to be red, I think a good strategic under would be Alexis Lafreniere, under half of a point against the Nashville Predators. So now I have another point and another process. And when I say point, I actually mean player point and a point to prove and a point to teach. So the player point that I have is a player who recently returned to the lineup, has looked great. I think he's registered points in the previous 2 games. Maybe he only didn't register in his first game back, but this is Noah Hanifin, one of the, if not the best defenseman. Shea Theodore obviously has more of an offensive flair, but the best all-around defenseman now that Alex Pietrangelo is not on the team is Noah Hanifin, and they use him a ton, and he's been playing a ton. And let me tell you something. He is a guy where if the power play isn't working properly, in the mid-game, they'll make the adjustment. Kind of like how the Leafs sometimes go from Morgan Riley to Ekman Larson, and then maybe they'll switch back. If Bruce Cassidy doesn't like the way the first power play looks, he'll let Noah Hanifin quarterback the second power play. So you have that snuck into the price, that's nice overall. But this thing I'm about to teach you about is when you have a power play 2 defenseman who's a really good player, you pair his assist with a guy who plays with stars but isn't on that top power play for whatever reason. And this would be a prime example. You have Jack Eichel, Mitch Marner on the first line playing on the top power play, but who's that guy playing next to him? Ivan Barbashev. And since this line has been put back together, he has points in every single game. Since that line has been put back together, and since Noah Hanifin has been back in the lineup, guess what? Barbashev's got a point, and Hanifin's had an assist. This is called, it's like the power play 2 combo plus, because it's like an elite status. This isn't just like taking Nino Niederreiter and Neil Pionk. This is taking a player who's likely to get a point on his own playing with those stars, and then the power play 2 defenseman who's better than your average power play 2 defenseman. And if you want another example of this, Arturi Lehkonen, who plays with Nathan McKinnon, Marty Necas, and then Devon Taves, who's paired with Cale Makar 5-on-5, and has some power play 2 time on the back end of power plays. So this is a great sneaky way to do a power play, quote unquote, power play 2 combo, but plus. It's a power play 2 plus, because you're not just taking some guys on line 2 or 3 and back on power play 2. You're taking on a player who plays with elite players, and then a defenseman who's better than your average power play 2 defenseman. So like Taves for an assist, Lehkonen for a point, but in this case, we're going to do Noah Hanifin for an assist and Ivan Barbashev for a point. You got me? You got me? It's the power play 2 plus combo. Learning new things here every day, ladies and gentlemen. But how about we just keep things very simple? Whoa. I'm just getting off money lines. Now you showed me, okay, add Nico Hischier, that's where I'm at. Good, that's really all you need to know if you're on your way up our Scientology Snakeonomics scale. As you work your way up to OT Snake, we're looking for a player who's on the top line, on the top power play, who's presenting a price as if that's not the case. And I see this in Columbus. And we have a guy in K.Johnson, who I know you're going to check it, but he hasn't got he was on the 4th line for a couple of games. Last game, he played with Sean Monahan. He hit 2 posts, I believe. He looked great out there. He's right on he's about to come through, and I think it might happen in this game against the Edmonton Oilers, who, I don't know, I think they gave up 9 in their last game at home. So I don't think Stuart Skinner is going into this one with a ton of confidence. So I'm going to go with that K.Johnson point on the road against the Edmonton Oilers, and it's an easy pair. His line mate, his center, Sean Monahan, who's going to be on the top power play with him. That's going to be north of plus 200. Easy Snakeonomics play. But sure, take the Devils at minus 160 or whatever it is. No, we go with a point here, point there, plus 230. Thank you very much. And look, I try not to repeat too much, but, I just kind of got to whisper it to you. I mean, Schaefer, it's starting at plus 128. It ends at like minus 110, so get on it early. Schaefer for a point against the Devils. And what's the combo there? How simple is it? Schaefer for a point, Barzal for an assist, always orchestrating the outside of the power play. The outside of the power play. This guy you know how you have those two players, they just keep sending it back and forth to each other, hoping that eventually somebody's going to do something. Those are the two guys I love combining for some power play 1 combo. So Schaefer, plus 128. I know it's boring. I gave you some new stuff. I'm talking about advanced power play 2 elite plus scam, like one of these new apps, MGM plus elite. That is what I have for you here on a Monday. Good luck to you. Yeah, better luck to me. So make sure you are subscribed here to the YouTube channel if you want to learn more advanced OT8 Snakeonomics plays, because they just keep getting more advanced as we go down. It's just new chapters keep getting added. And if you want to know what those are, you make sure you're subscribed to the channel here. Click the notification so you know when a new video is coming out. Sometimes it's in the middle of the night. Sometimes it's in the morning. Sometimes it's in the afternoon. Only way you'll get it right away is if you click those notifications. And that's almost as good as you hyping the video. There's a hype button down there. It helps these videos get seen by more people. And that is almost as good as being a minority owner of this show, being the only. There are no sponsors. If I had sponsors, I wouldn't even ask. I don't care. This company's just giving me money. I'll say whatever the hell I want, and that's it. But I don't have any sponsors. The only sponsors I have are those of you who are kind enough to pay for everything I'm doing here. And you know what? I was thinking about this. Not that you should feel good to give someone else your money, but it's got to feel good knowing, like, okay, this is just some guy making these videos. There's no one over there. There's no one over there. And this is me throwing this guy some shekels for doing that. So if you want to show your appreciation, feel free. It's patreon.com/Andy Francess. If not, you can say, I don't care. Do everything for nothing. I don't care. I don't care if you go away. I'll be here as long as it's free and I'll watch it. But then as soon as you ask for anything more, I'm getting the hell out of here. Well, fine. Now I'm getting the hell out of here. I'll see you tomorrow for the next round of NHL Sniffs.